Subhash Garg, are you disappointed that SBI gave this response? Look, all of these are in different silos. That's why we can't match it. Is that a credible response, or do you believe SBI deserves the benefit of doubt on that?
See, the way the whole scheme was designed and implemented, there is no way, and I'm saying it with responsibility, there is no way SBI can match it. The bonds carry no identifier. There is no way you can identify which bond was bought by whom and was deposited by which party. So these three things, the bond, the buyer, and the political party which is deposited, cannot be matched. So
no, you're saying it cannot be matched even by 30th of June?
Absolutely. That is the reason I was saying this was the bluff. That is the reason why no one in 26 days, they have not been able to match. They didn't attempt even to match even a single one. So the point is that it cannot be matched, even if people go back to the Supreme Court later on asking that give them more time to do it. They will not be able to do. The only way probably the conjectures can be made is that the data analytics linking that in this particular tranche, these bonds were bought. Let us say of 700 odd crores in the first in one tranche, and the political parties deposited these 700 crores at that bifurcation would be available. So people may make some conjectures that this bond might have come from this company to this company. But there is no way an exact match can be made for each bond between the buyer and the...
No, exact matches can't be made, but presumably, Tarlochan Shastri, as you said, data analytics will look at them very carefully. And if I find that a particular corporate has given an excessive number...
Rajiv, I want to respond to...
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Shastri.
Rajiv, give me a minute.
Yes.
And, you know, I think based on the information that Mr. Garg has, he's absolutely right. But we have a journalist, and we have submitted this in writing to the Supreme Court in our contempt petition, and the Supreme Court has referred to it in today's judgment in passing. What is that? You can buy a bond. So one journalist bought 2 bonds for 1,000 rupees each and gave it to a forensic lab, and under ultraviolet light, the numbers are revealed. Now, there are 2 issues here. If India's biggest bank is issuing promissory and bearer bonds, which the RBI has said is not correct. The RBI had objected very strongly in writing to the electoral bond scheme. Still we went ahead, and then we have issued these promissory notes which are almost, if not fully, in the nature of currency, and we are saying we cannot trace who gave how much money to whom. This is not acceptable. This is wrong. This is not good banking practice. Okay. This is not the way bank should be run, because secondly, as we have very solid evidence that under ultraviolet rays, the numbers can be caught. I mean, you can get the numbers and you can match them.
Can now, Subhash Garg wants to respond to you.
No, let me just finish.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Garg, respond.
Let him.
See, please. This is correct that the bonds carry a secret number in its body, which can be seen under the ultraviolet lights. This was built as a security feature. This was not recorded anywhere, and therefore this cannot be used as an identifier. Let us say this journalist who bought a particular bond with this particular number, now it is when he bought it against his purchase, that number was not noted anywhere. So the end result of the entire process is that whether secret or non-secret, no number is recorded in favor of the purchasers who bought it or the depositors who got it. So despite the fact of this secret number, you cannot match the buyer with the...
Okay, so that's one issue, the matching issue. But Gopal Shankar Narayan, the other vital issue is that of the Supreme Court's role in ensuring... Okay, I take 2 viewpoints, but Gopal Shankar Narayan, what can therefore the Supreme Court do beyond what they did today to ensure that our public life, in a sense, is made more transparent and the public's right to know is enhanced? I want to know, what are these quid pro quos involved? As a citizen, do you believe that the court therefore should now take the next step logically?
No, look, I think if what Mr. Garg is saying is right, then the SBI, and they've named the chairman and managing director, have put themselves in a very, very difficult position. If this is true, I mean, this is technical, and I will defer to Mr. Garg and Mr. Shastri on this. If there is no way of collating these two silos, then SBI didn't say that to the court. SBI didn't come on the last day and say, look, we can't coordinate this. They said we can do it. We are able to do it. We just don't have enough time. So if this is true, that they can't do it, that game has been played and gone, and that doesn't exist anymore for SBI to say. SBI clearly says they can do it. I would like to believe SBI because they've said that to the Supreme Court. I gravely doubt that Mr. Salve and his client would have misled the Supreme Court. Let's believe that what they said was the truth and they can put it together. If they can put it together, all we need is a deadline by which they will put it together and give that information to the court. After that, public-spirited individuals can look at the timing of when these electoral bonds were issued, when they were encashed, and figure out whether it coordinates with any programs, whether any airport contracts being given or anything else, which could show a possible quid pro quo. Even establishing that in a court of law will be difficult, but I'm sure one would find a way.
Okay. Well, it's a step forward. I think let's be very clear. What the court has done is a step forward. Whether it has called...
I want to make one statement.
30 seconds, sir.
See, one is that, the Supreme Court was told by the SBI, as the Learned Counsel just told us, that they can do it. So it is a presumption for which we have no data that the numbers were never recorded. Okay. Number two, we have to get the big picture. Electoral bonds are finished. Whatever happens in 2024 elections is for the people of India to decide. But in future, this cannot happen. So it's a giant step forward for transparency.
But the question will be, and this we can keep for a separate debate, is what do you replace it with? Electoral bonds may be junk. They may be deemed unconstitutional. The larger question will remain, how are we going to clean up
hold a show.
We will do that. I promise you, this is an issue I will continue to track. Because unfortunately, and I say this with an element of sadness, many of our news channels in particular have chosen to, in their own way, junk the election bond issue. But that's for their conscience to answer as to why they do not stand up for a more transparent system. But we will see how to make that system more transparent, take more ideas from our guests.